Welcome back. It's Wage Rage. It's been a while. Here with Miguel Iterati. I'm Anthony Piatt. Used to do Cage Rage together. It was a blast. We're back with Wage Rage and Piatt Picks. We're going to look at four fights for you that we're talking about this week before we come out with Piatt Picks on Thursday. Got a couple boxing matches. Miguel's bringing us some UFC that actually I'm very excited about and I've already bet on myself. Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia. That's the big one. Let's get right to it, Miguel.
It is a big fight. You've got undefeated guys and away, young guys. This is one of those fights that, yeah, they've been putting it together for a little bit and the guys have been calling each other out, but it's not like past its due date. Both guys are in their prime. We're getting a fight like that for the first time in a little bit in boxing. And it's the beginning of a run in boxing where we're getting some big fights. So I
Absolutely.
think that this fight in particular is going to get a lot of attention.
I think it will too, especially with American fans. Some of the trouble with these guys, not trouble, but let's face it, Crawford, Spence, a lot of the American stars don't draw the European interest. So in the casuals, right? So we know casuals drive boxing when it comes to pay-per-views and whatnot. You want to hit that million mark. You've got a lot of casuals, you got a lot of Europeans. They don't charge as much over there. But if you sell 60% of your sales outside of America, they're about 45% of your overall profit. So it is nice. That does hold this fight back slightly. I'm glad they made it. There's been some criticism of Tank, Mayweather protection program and things of that nature that kind of give me a chuckle. And we know Ryan's coming from the, internet sort of influencer type world.
Right.
Let's not forget to say this is a minus 280 for Tank, a plus 210 for Ryan. My thoughts on the fight itself, just from it's hard not to see them respecting each other a little bit at first. Ryan being fast, causing a little bit of trouble. A fairly close fight. I think Ryan's probably, close by the sixth round. Maybe some trouble starts to develop. I could see Tank catching him probably the seventh or eighth round. There might be some bets that we look into. I've started kind of taking a look on FanDuel and Bet US with some bets that we might get into about, does it go over 7 rounds, things like that. I don't think it's a real early fight. That's what I'm feeling about it so far. It's hard not to think Tank doesn't catch him at some point. But Ryan's got a liver shot. Let's be real. Ryan's got a liver shot. Leaves his head a little open for Tank. I think if he slows down at all, if he tires at all, if Tank just figures him out a little bit, he's going to be in some danger. These guys are both good fighters, though, Miguel.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're both undefeated, as we mentioned, and we don't get enough of that in boxing. So just that makes it intriguing, and just that, in my eyes, should pull in some of the casuals. I think Ryan Garcia will help pull in some casual and some not
That's
traditional
right.
boxing fans because he is a guy with a social media presence. I think that that's important. That he manage himself. If he wins this fight, he's going to be heading it up the pay ladder and things like that, and to have all the Instagrams and all that stuff in place in a modern world, more power to him.
Absolutely.
Gervonta's not that much dedicated at that particular aspect of it, but I think that may be the difference here. That Gervonta is more of just a gritty boxer. And I think what you have here is a traditional matchup. You got Tank being a Tank, little short, stocky, got to get inside, got to land his big punches. Garcia, fast. He's got a 5-inch height advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So, that in itself, if he can fight tall properly, keep him away, keep him on the end of his jab, hurt him with the jab, make sure he can't get in, he could be, able to steal a lot of the early rounds.
He's also got a 70-inch reach. This would be Garcia to Tank's 67 and a half. So you've got a 2.5, 3-inch, reach difference, which could, Tank's going to have to get on the inside, and that's why I think early on, Ryan's speed and footwork and his ability, we'll keep Tank away a little bit. He'll have to get tired and get caught maybe halfway through the fight, and we'll dig deeper on that analysis as to where we think that might happen a little later. But these are the fights we need in boxing, and
Absolutely.
and same with Spence and Crawford. That sounds like it might get made. What a great year if these fights come together. So, we mentioned the odds: -280 for Davis, +210 for Garcia. 3 of the 4 fights we're going to talk about tonight are the same. So Joe Cordina and Rakhimov, that fight's a little bit earlier, I would assume, because that one's going to be in I think that one's in England, if I'm not mistaken. In Wales. There we are, in Wales. That's on DAZN. So that could be your sort of daytime viewing. Check your local listings, but that's going to be earlier than your Showtime show with Tank and Ryan. Honorable mention, Alan Savage, the Babbage, is on Sky Sports Fighting in Poland. I don't know what time on that. And I've got no odds on it at all. We're not going to pick that one. But Cordina is a -280 and Rakhmonov is a +210. Those are probably fair odds. I think this is not a super tough fight for Cordina. It should be the next step in his evolution. I believe he's 8-0. Good fight. I hope I'm calling that one right. Is Cordina 8-0 now? Now I got myself wondering. He's 15-0 with 9 KOs. There we are. So look for that one. If you can watch it during the day on the zone, it'll be a fun fight to watch. Don't expect a whole lot there. We can look into the odds on that one later. I think it's time for UFC because really, Miguel, you brought you brought us just a morsel a couple of weeks ago, really. Let me just say, guys, Sergei Pavlovich versus Curtis Blaydes. Odds first came out several weeks ago. They were virtually tied. They were both like a -110, something to that effect. Money came in on Blaydes, presumably because people know the name, don't know the Russian. And Pavlovich shot up to like a +145. I just dropped 50 on a +136 as we're taping this show here on Monday. So that's one. How did you come across that, and tell us what you know about this one, Miguel? Because this is one I'm excited about. Get it while it's hot type of deal.
For sure. Anytime that the UFC busts out with heavyweights that are still charting up, because they tend to recycle heavyweights a lot. And Blaydes, we've seen Blaydes fight Ngannou. He's actually lost to Ngannou twice. That held him back a little bit. The last time we saw him, he was stopped by Derek Lewis, and but he's 7-1, including with that Derek Lewis fight in his last 8 fights. That's an impressive record and an impressive run, no matter what or how you look at it. He beat Junior Dos Santos, a former champion. Yeah, he's at the end of his career, but a savvy champion. Alexander Volkov, a tall Russian who's had some steam and is not an easy out. He took him to a 5-round unanimous decision. Blaydes, I can see why people are picking Blaydes. As far as Pavlovich, however, Pavlovich, if you tend to lean towards Pavlovich and you're able to get him as an underdog, it's going to make it even more intriguing. Pavlovich is 17-1. His only loss is to Alistair Overeem, who is an all-time great and one of those veterans that is going to be a tough out for anybody. And he took that loss a little bit, 5 fights ago. Since then, he's been a machine. He's ended every fight in the first round. None of them have gone more than 4 minutes since that loss back in 2018 to Alistair Overeem. One of those wins is a 55-second knockout of Derek Lewis. You remember Lewis is the guy who has the lone blemish on Blaydes' record in the last 8 fights. So, he beat the guy that beat the other guy and things. So, once you start looking at those details, Pavlovich may have some appeal to people. If you're on the Blaydes bandwagon, you're not going to go for, you want to get the best odds you can. But this one's fluctuating. You can see why, because Pavlovich pretty much has just one blemish on his record.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an exciting one for me, because I do think it is a toss up. And so when you can get a plus 150 or whatnot on something that is a 50-50 fight, well, mathematically, if you take that every time, you're coming out ahead, aren't you? Because when you do
Sure.
win, you're adding 50% extra. So, you know, uh, mathematically, you can take a loss every other time and you're still going to add 25% on average. So we love these type of bets. This is the type of math I love to find for folks and share on Wage Rage and on Piatt Picks. Let's go. Bobby Green, Jared Gordon. This is another Bobby Green minus 280 and a plus 210 for Jared Gordon. Another similar odds. 3 of those tonight. Miguel, what do you have on this one for us?
You know, Jared Gordon is a guy that took a loss in his last fight. He lost to Paddy Pimblett, but the general consensus across, the internet was that the judges got that one wrong. And I think Gordon did a very good job of letting people know he felt wrong, but also not overstepping it and, just being, a guy who turns into a complainer. I think here he's back in a fight. He's an underdog against Bobby Green. Bobby Green has 14 losses in his career. So, if it goes to the judges, I would think Gordon's got a lot of motivation. And then there's also just that touch of, if he was robbed last time, karma sometimes does exist. And I think Gordon's one of those guys that may be trending up in karma, where Bobby, he's got 2 losses in a row. I don't know, it's going to be a mount for him to get into any title picture, although he's a very good fighter. But he's been around a little while, and Gordon, I think, may have more topside. So if Gordon could break through here, I think that it would be a positive for Gordon's career. And if he's not, he takes 2 losses in a row and he's in bad shape. Green would still be 1-2 in his last 3 fights, so he needs a win badly. So because of the odds, Gordon may be appealing to some people.
Absolutely. Hey, look, these are great ones. We'll have more detail later in the week, but it's that Pavlovich. If you feel like we do, if you feel like like Miguel brought it to me, and wow, that's gold. So I've already put in on that one. That's something that the listeners and viewers might want to consider. And then we'll dig into this other stuff a little bit deeper. Might do a little parlay with a couple of these guys, and if anything else pops up. Right now, my books are pretty shy on any extra fights. There's only 2 boxing fights right now on FanDuel. I'm sure something else will pop up. They usually do. That's why we can't bring you the Piatt picks until a little bit later in the week. So stick with us. We usually do those for you on Thursday for Saturday's slate. And so look for it Thursday or Friday. Also want to mention we've got the Bet US link. If you need a link in any state in Canada or the United States, that link is there for us. And also Sharps, we're working with them now, and it's brand new. It's free, completely free. PIAT 186 is the code, Piatt 186 with the 1T. And basically you can see what bets we're making, what our record is, percentages. You can sign up free. You can choose to share what you want to share and what you don't want to share. It's fascinating. It's pretty neat. They don't sell a thing. It's just a community where you can share with other guys that are betting and get more tips, see what's good, see who's good, and follow their advice and whatnot. So there we are. Check that out. That's Sharps app, PIAT 186. Miguel, we'll see you again in a couple of days. This
For
stuff is going to
sure.
be
Yep.
exciting week.
I'm
Wow,
definitely
can't wait.
excited to see your picks for sure. Looking forward to that. And I know that you got, your public is guys that are following you week to week and stuff. So for anybody new out there, if you got a gut feeling or something that you want to, this is the week of the fight. So those odds are going to move back and forth. You want to look at them, you want to check them, see if they're moving in your direction or away from your direction. You may want to jump on it. You don't want to wait till Thursday unless you got a sure thing, and then you want to confirm and see which way Anthony's going on that one for sure. So
That's
just be
right.
on the lookout, especially that UFC main event. The odds are moving as we speak.
And I want to mention as well, of course, please subscribe. Also, check out the original podcast, Cage Rage Podcast. Shout out to Chad, Devin, some of the other guys that did the show there with us. You can see some of our old stuff there. We've got a highlights reel that we're going to post here on this channel soon of the old stuff. And we've got some neat history that Miguel and I have done. Gosh, we talked about Ketchel. We talked about Jack Johnson. We've talked about some great stuff in the past, so we'll post some of that stuff as well. But you can find it already now on Cage Rage Podcast on YouTube, and we'll be transferring some of that over here. So hey, we need to build this channel up. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Spread it to your friends, and we appreciate you. Look out for later in the week. It's Piatt Picks coming at you. Miguel, it's always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you, and we'll be back Thursday.